Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the SwineyBros podcast for episode 17. My name is Toby.
And I'm Seth.
And we are the SwineyBros.
We welcome you to the SwineyBros podcast.
So there has been a lot of things happening in the NFL since our last episode. The Seattle Seahawks were crowned the Super Bowl champions. Many teams have made trades. Many teams have got rid of coaches. Many teams have hired coaches, gotten rid of players you never thought would have imagined. And yes, some physicals have been failed. So, without further ado, what was the SwineyBros reaction to the Super Bowl between the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots?
Unpopular opinion, one of the most boring Super Bowls I've ever watched in my life.
Yeah. Snooze fest.
To me, you know. I talked to some people, and they're like, oh, I thought it was a great Super Bowl, but, you know, if you enjoyed it, you know, good for you. I'm not going to knock you if you enjoyed it, but to me, it was the most boring Super Bowl I've watched in a very long time. Speaking of Super Bowls, here's a fun fact for you before we dive into this game. Everyone knows good old-fashioned Devin Hester. This is a fun Super Bowl fact that I found out the other day, so I had to share it with you. Devin Hester says that he only watches the first play of the Super Bowl every year to see if anyone returns the opening kickoff for a touchdown. If it doesn't happen, the Hall of Fame return specialist says he turns the TV off. Every year, I watch the Super Bowl for the first 15 seconds just to see if somebody else is going to do it, and then after that, I turn the TV off. Devin Hester famously returned the opening kickoff of Super Bowl 41 for a touchdown while playing for the Chicago Bears. The 92-yard return against the Indianapolis Colts remains the only opening kickoff touchdown in Super Bowl history, and that was on February the 4th, 2007. So I thought that was a cool little tidbit that I would share with you guys. So diving in, Super Bowl. The final score for Super Bowl 60 was Seattle 29, New England 13. Was not a very exciting game. Congratulations to Mr. Myers for setting a Super Bowl record of the most field goals kicked in a Super Bowl with 5 field goals.
Wow.
Kudos to you.
Impressive.
Jason Myers was responsible for 17 of the 29 points scored for the Seahawks during this. To me, the most exciting play for me was in I believe it was the fourth quarter, there towards the end of the game, when Uchenna Nwasu, he had that 45-yard interception return for a touchdown. That was really cool. That was probably that was the highlight of the Super Bowl to me. But, you know, sadly, unfortunately, I never thought I'd be saying this, but ladies and gentlemen, this Super Bowl was not the Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels show.
Was not.
They were, they just looked pitiful out there. They looked like they never played football day in their life.
Nope.
They did not look like the same Patriots that we have seen all season. Now, granted, I know they have a very, very young offensive line, and I know that poor left side was just getting tore up all night. But
Poor
you
Will
know,
Howard, man.
that comes with it. You know, you've got to make mistakes before you can learn from your mistakes and get better. But I guess I expected a little bit more out of the Patriots for this Super Bowl. Just a few stats to go over it. Sam Darnold, 202 passing yards. He was 19 out of 38 with 1 touchdown. Drake May, 295 passing yards. He was 27 out of 43, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. The MVP, Mr. Kenneth Walker, he had 135 rushing yards for 27 carries. Drake May had 5 carries for 37 yards. Hey, here's a name you don't hear very often. Cooper Kupp had 6 receptions for 61 receiving yards. Mac Hollins had 4 receptions for 78 yards and 1 touchdown. So those are kind of the top stats for Super Bowl 60 here. And like I said, Uchenna Nwasu got the interception return for a touchdown. That was really cool. Anytime you get some big defensive play like that's exciting. But it just wasn't very interesting Super Bowl to me.
Yeah, I mean, not much to go off of there, really. I think I texted Seth at one point during it, told him I was looking at houses like midway through the third quarter, just because it was a snooze fest. And unfortunately, Drake May got a fresh taste of a Seattle defense that chased him all game long It was brutal. I said this before the Super Bowl even happened, and I still say it, and I still stand by it, that the real Super Bowl was between Seattle and the Rams. I think it was just much better game than the AFC Championship, much better game than the Super Bowl. Kudos to the Patriots for making it all the way there, but they were outclassed, outmanned, out-talented, outcoached in just about every category. So, but you know what that means? Every time you win a Super Bowl, chaos erupts in the NFL. Everyone drops their players. People sign new players. People trade away players. Coaches get fired. Coaches in get hired. So we're going to list off every single free agency move. No, we're not. But what we will do is try to bring you the most important and most notable of them all. So let's just start with the most surprising to me. And I still don't know how I feel about this. So we'll do kind of a little bit of a discussion about the player, or how we think they fit into the team, and if it was a good decision. So, Seth, right off the bat, the Chiefs signed the Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker III, to a 3-year, good amount of money. I forgot what many millions it was, but it was a good amount of money for a running back. How do we feel about that?
I think that Kenneth Walker, now, I hate the Chiefs. I despise the Chiefs. I hate to see good talent like that go to the Chiefs, just for the simple fact that I don't like the Chiefs. But I think it's going to be a really good move for him. He's going to roll in there and be that RB1 that they desperately needed, that Isaiah Pacheco could not be. I was really kind of hoping that Kenneth Walker was going to go to Tennessee. I was really pulling for a move to Tennessee. But Tennessee Chiefs come in. I think that's going to be a really good move for him. As long as he can stay healthy, I think that he will thrive in that offense. I really do.
I'm going to leave that decision on I don't agree with it and I don't disagree with it. I'm very neutral about this. The reason being, do I think Kenneth Walker is a very solid running back one? Yes. Do I also know how Andy Reid plays offense? He is very heavy on catching running backs. Kenneth Walker had 31 catches all season long. He is not exactly a out of the backfield, catch the ball and make a play. He is gun barrel down, slinging, bulldozing. But an interesting stat for those of you who are unaware, since 2018, Patrick Mahomes has the most rushing yards on the Kansas City Chiefs with a little over 2,500. Pacheco has 2,400 and Kareem Hunt has 2,100. So clearly, they made a good move. It just is still to be determined how that's going to fit into Andy Reid's offense, or is he going to be subbing him out quite a bit to do more of those passing plays? Time will tell. So, Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs. Let's just keep going on. There's quite a few, so let's just throw another wide receiver out there. Mike Evans has left the Buccaneers for the San Francisco 49ers on a 3-year, $60.4 million deal. He said he felt and believed, quote, that he is the missing piece the 49ers need to win a Super Bowl. How do we feel about it?
Oh, I mean, I love Mike Evans. You know what you're going to get with Mike Evans. There is no question mark about Mike Evans. As long as Mike Evans does not get hurt, you know you're going to get a caliber wide receiver. And with the likes of Brock Purdy to throw to, I think that he'll be great in that offense, especially, considering the absence of Brandon Ayuk. I think that Mike Evans joining Ricky Pearsall and Kendrick Bourne is going to be a really good wide receiver trio going on, especially with, Jake Tonjes and George Kittle. You're really going to see just the offensive passing game just flourish even more so with San Francisco with Mike Evans in their arsenal.
San Francisco had the 24th ranked most catches or least catches in the NFL last year in the wide receiver department with 161 receptions. So clearly they are lacking in wide receiver firepower. This is approved by me. I am very thankful for this trade. I want to see Mike Evans go win a Super Bowl, and as long as he's win a Super Bowl again, and I just don't see it happening with Baker Magic over in the Buccaneers. I think it's a great move for him, and I really like to see players getting traded to teams that are contenders, and you can see the hunger to win. Let's move on to the Colts. They've had two important ones here. Firstly, the come-up who was on my fantasy team. Great free agency pickup. Alec Pierce re-signed with the Colts on a 4-year, $114 million contract. He said, give me the money for the talent. Boy, they did. And, of course, Michael Pittman Jr. was traded to the Steelers for a late-round pick swap. Michael Pittman Jr. going to the Steelers to team up with quarterback who? Question mark. How do we feel about it?
Well, for Alec Pierce, that is a win for me. And he just went way up on my fantasy list. Alec Pierce had a really good close to the season last year. I made a terrible mistake because I picked him up off the the waiver wire, and I was kind of playing a teeter-totter between him and Josh Downs. Made the bad mistake of dropping him and letting you pick him up, and that cost me bad. But especially with Michael Pittman being out of the picture, going to
wide receiver number one.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. Because you take Michael Pittman out of the equation, you take they traded Adonai Mitchell to the Jets way earlier in the season, so he's no longer there. So, the top two people that's going to be receivers is going to be Mr. Alec Pierce, and then you're going to have their tight end. His name just left me. Tyler Warren. So those are going to be the two top guys there. So, I think that's really good for the Colts. And speaking of Colts players, I don't think he's worth this much, but the Colts did reach a 2-year, $88 million contract with Daniel Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
So we shall see. Hopefully he lives up to the contract, but I like Alec Pierce. I like that. That's a good move.
Alec Pierce, for sure, is certified and approved by me. Fantastic way to demand, kind of like James Cook demanding money and then more than delivering for his team. Michael Pittman Jr., I'm going to say I don't like that move for Michael Pittman Jr. I don't know going to the Steelers because simply that the Steelers still have a giant question mark at quarterback. They are actively trying to pursue Aaron Rodgers, with Kirk Cousins being their fallback option to pair with second-year backup Will Howard, especially considering brand new coach. They got DK Metcalf. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Michael Pittman Jr. on my fantasy list has dropped, and he will stay there for a while. So, yes, Daniel Jones. Did I doubt that they were going to re-sign him? No. Do I think he is overpaid, like Seth said? Yes. Especially coming off of one of the most traumatic injuries that a athlete can have, and you never know how good they're going to be after that. But time will tell. Speaking of last wide receiver moves for me, that was the most notable, was the come-up of the fantasy sleepers for a while. He was riding the bench, signed a 4-year, $78 million with the Tennessee Titans. It is none other than Wan'Dale Robinson. More talent going over to Cam Ward with their fashionable new uniforms. Let's just knock out two birds with one stone. How do you feel about the trade? How do you feel about the uniforms?
I like Wan'Dale. I really do. He didn't get enough credit in New York. He was always the clutch guy for them, especially after Neighbors got hurt. But, the Giants were just one of those teams that just kept getting punches one after another last year. But I like it. I like it a lot because the Tennessee, they don't really have any standout wide receivers. And I think if Cam Ward has another season like he does last year, kind of develops a little bit more, gets a little bit more aware, I think that Wan'Dale Robinson will do really well. And he went up on my fantasy list too. I think he's going to get a lot of targets, and I think he's going to be a shining star for this Tennessee offense. I think Brian Dable made the right call, whispering in those ears like, come on, man, we need to get old Wan'Dale down here.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah. Speaking of wide receivers, what do you think about this one? Okay, I'm going to flip the script on you. The New England Patriots dropped Stephon Diggs, but they signed a contract with Romeo Doubs. How do you feel about that?
Well, I've always been a Stephon Diggs hater. I don't like Stephon Diggs. I think he's a cancer in every locker room he's in. He chokes. He's bad. He underperforms. I have more stats in flag football than he does in Super Bowl appearances. It's rough. Do I think Romeo Doubs was the greatest replacement? No. Do I think he will be better than Stephon Diggs? I have no idea, because that was honestly the most surprising, I think, wide receiver transaction that I saw coming out of everything. If you told me that of all the teams he could go to be the New England Patriots, I really don't know, because you're looking at two totally different styles of wide receiver between Stephon Diggs and time will tell. For now, just because they dropped Stephon Diggs, I give it certified approval. But for right now, I really just don't. It's kind of, it gives you that big question mark for me, because how in the world is he going to fit into that offense? I don't know.
I'm not going to say that I love it per se, but I do feel that it is definitely going to be an interesting wide receiver room in New England this season. Romeo Doubs, Kayshon Boutte. It's going to be very interesting to see how he fits in, and I think he'll have a good role.
Oh yeah.
I think there'll be a good fit there with Mike Vrabel.
I agree with that.
But that was a very interesting trade to me. right there.
And of course, we can't forget the Buffalo Bills.
I knew it was
And their
coming.
transaction with the Chicago Bears to acquire DJ Moore. How do we feel about that one?
Well, I think that was a good trade as far as what the Bills gave up. The Bills got DJ Moore and a 5th-round pick in exchange for a 2nd-round pick. So, it really wasn't a bad trade. I like DJ Moore. I think that maybe with a little bit more poised quarterback, that he might do well in the Buffalo system. We are dying for somebody to step up and take that number 1 wide receiver role, and I'm really hoping that DJ Moore is that guy. I was really hoping for somebody more like along the lines of Rashid Shaheed or somebody like that. But Seattle knew what they had, and they retained him. And honestly, Buffalo doesn't have the cap space right now. They're already over like $14 million. So, I mean, I like it. I think it's got potential to grow, and I'm hoping for the best.
Truthfully, I think what I would love to see with this, with the combo of Shakir, I would like to see the Bill. We'll have a whole episode dedicated to this. So, no, we're not jumping into the NFL draft or anything like that. I'm just saying I would like to see the Bills still pursue maybe like a lower end talent that's kind of under the radar, just to pair an explosive young rookie with what they already have in the locker room. I think it'd be cool. I think it would still be wise, especially, DJ Moore is a good wide receiver. Do I think DJ Moore is like top 5 in the NFL? No. Could he blossom into that with Josh Allen at quarterback? Very well. Do I approve this? Absolutely. Good job, Buffalo Bills. You did exactly what your entire fan base has been begging you to do. It just took you a little longer than we thought. So.
Now, I will tell you one trade the Buffalo did that I am very excited about was they got Bradley Chubb from Miami. I'm very excited about that. Very glad to have him on board. I was talking to Cam today on the phone. What up, Cam? I don't know why these teams trade divisional-wise in their own division.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to give my opponent that I got to play twice a year somebody like that. Same thing with, the Ravens getting Trey Hendrickson. Why the heck would I want to give somebody like that to somebody that I got to play 2 times a year? No way. But, I mean, I love it. I love it for the Bills. I'm really excited for Bradley Chubb to have him on board.
So speaking of, Trey Hendrickson signed a 4-year, $112 million deal with the Ravens after the Max Crosby trade suddenly fell through. I mean, Trey Hendrickson's a pretty good football player. Sucks for Bengals fans, great for Ravens fans. I don't really know if there's much we can add to this. I mean, he's just a very talented football player, and feel bad for Max Crosby.
All I can say is Joe Burrow better take good care of his offensive lineman.
You got that right. So let's switch over from the wide receivers to, of course, just a few important ones, not super notable names that moved around in this department, and there's still more to come on this. Let's just go over the biggest one, in my opinion, because he will be starter, surely. A 3-year, $67.5 million deal was signed for the Miami Dolphins to take Malik Willis, replacing Tua Tagovailoa and reuniting with Coach Jeff Hafley. How do we feel about that?
Well, I think that Malik Willis is proven that he's ready to play ball. He might shine in the Miami's offense, but Miami's going to be a big question mark this year. We really don't know what to expect, but like you said with Hafley, it might just be a great fit there. So I don't know. I'm on the outside looking in right now. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It could be good. It could be bad. But I think that he brings more to the table than Tua.
I will say, getting used to playing in the Green Bay cold and then going to play in Miami is probably pretty nice for him. I'd say he's going to be pretty comfortable, or maybe he just plays terrible. I don't know. I would say that's a good replacement because he played a lot better football this year than Tua did. That's for sure. Speaking of Tua, what in the world is going on with the Atlanta Falcons? Join the Atlanta Falcons on a measly 1-year, $1.3 million deal. Don't know what it is with the Atlanta Falcons and their quarterback charades, but hold on for dear life. Clearly, he's joining as a presumable backup.
Right, of course. He's just there in case something happens to
depth
Penix.
string quarterback, but it does make you throw some question marks.
That was a value menu pick, is exactly what that was.
That was, we got a little money. Let's sign this dude for a solid backup.
You want to think that's weird? What in the world is going on with the New York Jets? Jets signed Geno Smith, and they bring him back home in exchange for a 2026 6th-round pick. That's what?
Who won that trade?
I don't know.
Who won that trade?
I'm hoping for Jets fans everywhere, especially Cam and Scott, that he does a little bit better. Maybe with Garrett Wilson, you might have good things. And coming from Gino's perspective, I'm sure he probably feels a lot of admiration and respect for the Jets franchise, considering they are the first team in the NFL that he played for, and they drafted him in 2013. So that really blew my mind, because I have really good friends with two Jet friends. I send it to both of them, and one of them is like, woohoo, yeah, and the other one's like, no, so I don't know, it could go either way.
So mark this down. This may be the worst take of my career, so we'll have an episode about that too. I think Geno Smith is the most hated on and most underrated quarterback in the NFL. And I think that he got so much hate this year when he had arguably the worst offensive line in the NFL. I mean, every single play, and when you if you watched the Raiders, because why would you? But if you did watch the Raiders this year, this dude was pouring out his soul, everything into his foot. I mean, he was trying his best. Every single play, he was under pressure. I mean, it blew my mind. I mean, it was insane. Do I think Geno Smith got a fair run in Las Vegas? No. Do I think drafting a brand new quarterback out of college is going to help fix their problems? No. So I fully believe that whoever they draft, if it is Fernando, whatever, they're going to have the same exact problem. So I'm actually really happy for Geno, and I think the Jets won this trade.
You heard it from Toby first.
Please don't hate on me too much. One last one that I think was the most notable that actually just happened not this long ago was another question mark that I had. I thought for sure he was going to be a fourth-string quarterback or switch to a punter or something. The Minnesota Vikings decided to sign Kyler Murray to the team. One Vikings fan that watches us described that anything's better than McCarthy. I don't know if I would say that with Kyler Murray. Is this a good trade? Good sign, sorry.
Well,
Not even a trade.
One thing that Kyler Murray has going for him in Minnesota versus Arizona is better wide receivers. You got the likes of Justin Jefferson and what's that other boy's name? Nailers?
I don't know.
Jalen Nailers.
He's some quick dude.
Jalen Nailers.
He's some quick dude.
And, you've got a little bit more of an established team. So, I don't know that I love it, but I don't know that I hate it either. Do I think that he's better than J.J. McCarthy? He does have the experience factor going for him on that.
That is true.
So I don't know. Time will tell. He might be comeback player of the year. You never know. Fresh start, fresh team, fresh teammates. Very, very interesting to see. But he is going from a desert environment to a colder environment, so that might play a big difference there as well. Talking about quarterbacks, while we're talking about quarterbacks, there are two teams that restructured their quarterbacks' contracts because of salary cap issues, and that was the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. Baltimore Ravens restructured Jackson's contract to create about $40 million in salary cap space, and the Bills restructured their contract of Josh Allen, creating $12 million of salary cap space. So there are teams that's trying to restructure, like the Buffalo Bills, because they are over the cap. I don't know if anybody else is over the cap, but I know for sure that the Bills are over the cap.
Well, they may have freed up $12 million, but as many Uncrustables as they buy, they may have 12 million calories at home. So, another big shocker that completely blew my mind and still blows my mind and feels like a complete shot at Alvin Kamara. Travis Etienne has joined the New Orleans Saints on a 4-year, $52 million contract. Jaguars fans got to be hurting after that one. Saints fans, light at the end of the tunnel? How do we feel about Travis Etienne?
Well, I think Travis Etienne has a lot to offer still. I don't think he's at the point in his career where he's washed. He had a better season this year than he did last year. He kind of looked more like the old Travis Etienne.
He's only 27.
The biggest thing for me is the Saints are a very struggling offense right now, and they don't have Rashid Shaheed anymore. They've got Spencer Rattler at their quarterback. They're just kind of rebuilding, and Alvin Kamara's been on the downhill slide for a while. So I don't know. I mean, he's a good running back, and maybe him and Kamara can do. He's one of those guys that he is a catching back, and that's kind of like the style that New Orleans likes to play a lot of times. Dual running back, screens. So he could do well. But we'll see. This is just a very struggling team right now, and they're really just trying to get some some missing puzzle pieces.
I mean, it could be kind of like a David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs situation for that backfield. I mean, I don't hate it. I just kind of, it feels weird. It feels really weird. Like, this is probably the weirdest free agency signing I've still seen. I mean, it's a great running back to get.
It is, but for the team, that's just kind of,
it's odd.
There's a lot of other places he probably could have done a lot better at.
Yeah. But money talks. I mean, $52 million contract, not bad money. Speaking of David Montgomery was traded from the Lions to the Houston Texans in exchange for offensive line Juice Scruggs and several draft picks. David Montgomery expressed the desire to become a running back one, and in the retirement home of the Houston Texans running back field, seems pretty clear he's going to be running back number one. How do we feel about that?
Well, I mean, I know he is because they let Joe Mixon go. They released Joe Mixon, and so, yeah. I mean, I think you're going to see a lot more involvement with Woody Marks this year.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that David Montgomery is going to be that number one running back. And to be honest with you, in Detroit, had it not been for Jahmyr Gibbs, I think David Montgomery would have had a lot more usage. He was just kind of handcuffed because of Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, when you're behind Jahmyr Gibbs, I mean, literally the identical copy of Bijan Robinson, I mean.
But I think he'll do very well in that offense. I think he'll be a really good complement to C.J. Stroud, and I look forward to watching him play this season.
Woody Marks is basically the new David Montgomery on the Texans. I mean, you're going to have an elite backfield with David Montgomery primarily taking the carries, and you're going to have Woody Marks kind of offering that explosive, come catch your breath. I approve that trade. Very certified. Defensive ends. Crazy stuff here. The flagrant man himself, who always seems to be at the center of drama, Jalen Phillips, signed a 4-year, $120 million deal with the Carolina Panthers, including $80 million guaranteed. How do we feel about that one?
I mean, kudos. Your offensive woes are obviously not that important to you. You're going to take the best running back that you had last season and ship him off to Pittsburgh while you just wasted, what was it, $82 million? Was that what Hubbard got last year?
Yeah.
It was a crap ton of money.
Yeah.
And you're going to take the best running back that you had last season and ship him off, and you're putting all your eggs in the wrong basket, man. I don't know, man. Carolina's organization is doing some really questionable things. I think that could have been used in a different area, but, whatever.
Whatever indeed. Excuse me if I mispronounce his name, because I've never been able to say it right. Odafe Owe joined the Commanders on a 4-year, $100 million deal. I jokingly said that on purpose. Please don't roast me that hard. Obviously adding some depth to this poor Commanders team that just plummeted. I don't really know if defensive line was their biggest struggle, but how do we feel about that $100 million contract?
Well, I mean, that's a lot of money. A lot of money, but, if that's what you feel like you need to do, I mean, I don't know that they had really defensive woes, but, I mean, we'll see. They also signed Rachaad White to the Commanders as well, so a lot of new faces in Washington. But, I don't know. There's been a lot of defensive moves. There's been as much defensive moves as there has been offensive moves. It's been pretty across the board.
Defense does win championships. Trust me, we know all about that. So I'm never going to clown on signing a defensive end or a defensive lineman.
Well, I mean, at least they didn't give all their draft picks away.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, the Commanders, certified. The Panthers, no. I dislike that move. Of course, speaking of, did I mention how terrible the Raiders' offensive line was? Tyler Linderbaum became the highest paid interior offensive lineman in NFL history with a 3-year, $81 million deal with the Raiders. So clearly the Raiders are trying to do the right things. Maybe a little bit of influence of Tom Brady went into that one.
Hopefully that'll open up the door for Mr. Genty a little bit this year.
People do forget that Tom Brady often took pay cuts to supply his superior and elite offensive line, as many other teams should follow in his steps. And, of course, Connor McGovern re-signed with the Bills on a 4-year, $52 million deal, and Zion Johnson signed a 3-year, $49.5 million deal with the Browns. I know the offensive linemen never get talked about, but I try to include them because they are the most important position in the NFL other than quarterback. Anyone else you want to talk about?
Anybody else?
There's plenty. Trust me, there's plenty.
Okay, I'll tell you one that I really did like. There's two that I really did like that Tennessee added to their defense. Tennessee added defensive tackle Jordan Elliott to a 2-year, $8 million contract. I like that a lot, and he's going to be reuniting with, head coach Robert Saleh, so good for that. And I loved the addition of Tennessee adding Alontae Taylor as their cornerback. That is
cool.
a good pickup. I'm really excited to see that. I like Alontae Taylor. That was a really good pickup for me. Just to hit a few high notes, one that really surprised me was Pacheco getting signed to the Lions. That really kind of threw me for a loop, but I guess, he can that'd be a good place for him to grow. He can learn from Jameer Gibbs and, kind of be under his wing. One I'm really excited about, and this guy's not to give away my draft strategy or anything, but the Falcons traded Tyler Allgeier to the Cardinals, so I'm really interested to see how that is, because especially with James Conner and Benson both going to be coming back from injury, somebody's going to have to fill the gap there, and I think that was an excellent choice on their part. I know they got Bijan Robinson. They're putting their eggs in that basket, but he's nothing to snob your nose up at. I think that was a really good addition to the Cardinals team. And, okay, probably one of the most blockbuster trades besides the Max Crosby fall through was the Rams pretty much giving everything away for cornerback Trent McDuffie. I just don't know how I feel about that. They gave away their first-round pick, their fifth-round pick, their sixth-round pick, and then they gave away their third-round pick for 2027. I don't know,
for one cornerback who was underwhelming.
Like, their defense isn't really that bad right now. Like, I don't really understand. And, but I don't know. That was probably the most moment to me, was the fact that they gave all that away. But
just remember, ladies and gentlemen, just because a general manager says it's a good idea doesn't always mean it's a good idea, no matter how much education he has.
And then one interesting tidbit for the free agencies. The Denver Broncos are the only team in the NFL that have not signed an external player during free agency. What does that tell you?
They got a lot of good players. I will end that on a high note with the Denver Broncos, that I was very much hoping so, that they had a running back who wanted to stay the rest of his career here. And I was really scared that they were going to let him go, but they did re-sign J.K. Dobbins. That made me, as a Broncos fan, very happy. He had a bad injury, I know. I still think he's a great running back. I think any running back in the backfield with him, like R.J. Harvey, will grow. And I think that just made me super happy. I wasn't a big fan of them re-signing Troutman, but that's a whole nother discussion for NFL Draft Day. And I still think they will draft a tight end. We'll see about that later. And, of course, there was a bunch of head coaching moves, firings, hirings. You guys probably know all about this by now. If you don't and you get upset about us not talking about it, I do apologize. But time must move on. So, for something that I decided that would be just fun to do because we've never done this before, we're going to power rank all of the 2025 NFL teams from 32 all the way up to number 1.
And when he says we're going to do power rankings, we are talking about when the season ended after the Super Bowl, right then and there. Not now with all the moves going. It's way too early in the year to do a power rankings for. We haven't even had preseason. We haven't had the NFL draft. So this is as the end of the season. As soon as Super Bowl 60 was over, this is our power rankings for all 32 teams at that time.
And if you skimmed ahead through all the timestamps and you didn't hear any of this, and then you get mad at us and message us, could you believe that the Dolphins are number 1 in the NFL next year? That's your own fault. So, and of course, just a little warning ahead of time. This is all opinion and all based on jokes and funs and just two people having opinions. So we do not mean to offend anyone with the placement of their teams from last year's performance. So with that being said, at 32, I have the Dallas Cowboys. At 32, I have the poor Tennessee Titans.
Do you?
Not much to discuss here. It was a toss-up for me between the Titans and the Raiders, but I threw the Titans at the number 32 spot. Not much to say. They struggled all year long. They have a lot of work to do.
Well,
Titans at 32.
I have, and I'm sorry to all my friends because I have a lot of friends, but I had to put the New York Jets at the 32 spot. Las Vegas, the Jets, and the Titans both had a record, and the Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals that were so good last year. Sorry, I had to throw that out there. All had a record of 3-14. But the reason that I put New York on the very bottom of the list, not only because of their record, but they were like the top second team for most points allowed with 503 points allowed.
That's pretty rough.
That is awful.
That's pretty rough.
That is terrible. So I had to put New York at the 32 spot.
At 31, I have the Las Vegas Raiders.
Same.
Put them at
same.
31. Pretty rough. Pretty rough performance from the Raiders. We've already kind of talked about their struggles and their woes. They've got a lot of talent on the team, and they're probably expected to draft a great quarterback out of college, the reigning national champion Indiana quarterback himself, Mr. Mendoza. But rough year. Rough year. Right above the Raiders at spot number 30, I have the New York Jets.
I have the Tennessee Titans at number 30.
Oh, pretty close so far here. Nothing too bad. At right above them at 29, I have the Arizona Cardinals.
Same. The Arizona Cardinals at number 29 with a 3-14 record. They allowed 488 points. They put forward 355 points, so nothing really, to write home about there.
Nothing too crazy. This one, it might start getting a little bit sifted here because we're starting to filter in a few worser, betterer teams. At number 28, I've got the Washington Commanders.
Oh,
you got them
a little lower than I do.
I got the Washington Commanders at 28.
I've got the New York Giants at number 28.
Close. Well, right above the Washington Commanders, I have the New York Giants.
So number 27, you have the Giants.
The only reason I put the Giants above the Commanders was because I thought I based it off of who I was more disappointed in, and I thought the Commanders had more talent than the Giants, and they underperformed compared to a young Giants team that dealt with a lot of injuries. Not that the Commanders didn't either,
right,
but they had more veteran experience, so I put them underneath the Giants.
Well, for number 27, I put the Cleveland Browns at 27.
Wow.
And the reason that I put the Cleveland Browns there, Cleveland Browns only was able to muster a total of 279 points.
Ooh.
They finished with 5-12. With the talent that this team had
Yep.
at their disposal, there is no reason for that low number of points.
I agree, which is why at number 26, I have the Cleveland Browns.
At 26, I have the Washington Commanders.
Oh.
I got them higher up on the. I know that they both got the same record. And the thing that I will give the Browns over the Commanders is their defense was a lot better. They only allowed 379 points to the Commanders.
Pretty elite defense.
451. But even the problems that Washington had with all their injuries, they had Austin Eckler get hurt. They had Jay Daniels get hurt there for a while. They had Terry McLaurin get hurt. They still was able to put up 356 points to the Browns 279. Like, how in the world you got somebody like Quinshon Judkins and you can't? That's the best you can do.
That's pretty brutal.
So I got Washington at 26.
At 25, I've got the very roller coastery team of the New Orleans Saints.
Yes, same.
I think like the Saints did a few good things this season and had a few like surprise shock wins where it was like, wow, you guys won that game. But by no means were they miles ahead of anyone under them on the list, I think. At 24, don't raise your eyebrows too quick. I do actually have the Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh.
And the reason I say this, very similar to the Washington Commanders. Out of all of the talent you had, yes, I know you gave away quite a bit of defensive talent. Out of all the offensive talent you had, you underperformed horrifically. Even with Dak Prescott having one of the best years he's had in recent years, you just couldn't get it done. And when you have expectations this high as America's football team, I had to put you down there.
Well, see, this is where me and you differ on opinion. For number 24, I have the Kansas City Chiefs sitting at number 24. I have the Dallas Cowboys a little bit higher than you do. But, Kansas City. Where do I even begin? They weren't even 500.
Yeah.
6-11.
Yeah, that's brutal.
This is one of the worst seasons that Kansas City has had in a very long time. Their defense was rocking. They only allowed 328 points. But, to me, you can say what you want to about the Cowboys, but they're consistent.
Consistently mid.
They are consistent. But Kansas City, it was a big nosedive this year, and I had to put them at number 24.
I think Kansas City's 6-11 was more impressive than Dallas's 7-9-1, which is why the Kansas City Chiefs are at number 23 for me. One spot ahead of the Cowboys, not by much, because the Chiefs still absolutely sucked this year. No one was disappointed by that. So Chiefs at 23 and at 22, right above the Chiefs. The biggest question mark I've ever had. I put the Miami Dolphins right above the Kansas City Chiefs.
For 23, I've got the Cincinnati Bengals.
Whoa!
23
Whoa!
with a 6-11 finish. The absence of Joe Burrow was real. Defensive struggles. They allowed 492 points. I mean, I was expecting, they made me sound like the biggest idiot there ever was. If you're not taking Jamar Chase with your number one pick, you need to go to the doctor. What kind of loser would make a statement like that? People that's watched Jamar Chase play. You got people like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, Chase Brown. They just stunk it up bad. And so I had to have them at 23. My 22 pick is also the Miami Dolphins.
Hey!
So we are the same there.
Hey!
I had Miami ranked at 22.
Right above the Dolphins at number 21, I had the Cincinnati Bengals. I had a lot of fantasy output, even though he did struggle midway through the season from Chase Brown. And the Bengals, had arguably one of the worst backup quarterbacks in the NFL, which is, I think, their biggest problem they had. And yes, they missed Joe Burrow dearly. And their defense, gosh, bless their defense, it needs some help. It needs some holy intervention, because that is rough. So the Bengals I had at 21, just barely above the Dolphins, just barely.
Okay, for my number 21 spot, I've got the Dallas Cowboys with a 7-9-1 record.
Oh.
This is, let me tell you what the problem with the Cowboys is, okay? It's not their offense. Cowboys put up 471 points.
That's crazy.
Okay,
That's
471 points for the season. They are a well-oiled offensive machine. Their woes are their defense. The Dallas Cowboys had the most points allowed out of any team this season with 511 points. That's what's wrong with the Dallas Cowboys. That is their problem. It is not an offensive talent problem, because everybody that they have proven that they can play with a well-oiled machine. They tied against Green Bay. It's a defensive problem. If you go out there and you score a touchdown and your defense doesn't do anything to back you up and help you, then you're fighting an uphill battle. So I had to put the Dallas Cowboys at 21. Had they have allowed some fewer points, I would have had them probably about maybe 19. But 511 points allowed is.
Now, I will say, for those who are like, oh my gosh, you didn't talk about the Cowboys moves, they did keep George Pickens, and that was the most notable thing they did in free agency, in my opinion.
Got rid of both of their defensive tackles.
Right.
Don't really know why. Maybe that's why.
We gotta afford this guy somehow. Our defense is bad anyway, so let's just ship this guy off and keep George Pickens, right? So, at number 20, this one was a bit of a toss-up for me, but I had to place them respectably just based off of the up and down that they also had. Arguably the most disappointing team this season, there's a lot of them, was the Atlanta Falcons.
Hey!
I placed the Atlanta Falcons at number 20. And it appears Seth did as well, because both Seth and I predicted that they were going to win their division this year, and they did not. Clearly. Feels bad for all of the talent that they had. Offensive talent, defensive talent, all the likes. At number 19. Oh, gosh. Speaking of disappointments. Man. I've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, no, not me.
I've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The reason I put them this low was kind of similar to the other things I listed, was that they disappointed me greatly. I mean, I was talking about Baker Mayfield being MVP candidate. They start out 5-2. I was like, holy cow, the Buccaneers are going to do it. And they did it. Just all the wrong categories. And now they don't have Mike Evans. So I know I'm not basing that off my ranking. I'm just saying it just went from bad to worse to you're leaving the NFL.
Well, at my 19th spot, I had to go with the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, wow. Wow. What?
Yes,
What?
sir.
They
Yes,
made
sir.
the playoffs over the Bucks.
I know that they
What?
made the playoffs, but they barely made the playoffs by the skin of their teeth.
Where's the Vikings?
Tampa Bay put up 380 points to Carolina's 311.
But Carolina beat them both times.
Yes, I know, but no.
What?
I've got Tampa Bay.
No.
Tampa Bay sitting at
No.
the Carolina at the 19th spot because Tampa Bay had more talent. They got robbed. Plain and simple. That was fixed.
I can't believe
That was fixed.
That is just
I got Carolina at 19
disgraceful.
and I got Tampa Bay at 18.
okay.
So
That's
it's not like I got
Well, wait, who's above Tampa Bay? Okay, well, at 18, I've. This is why this is fun. At 18, I've got the Baltimore Ravens.
see, we're not that far off.
At 18,
We're not
I've got
that
the
far
Baltimore
off.
Ravens. Lamar Jackson struggled with injuries. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens, I could have put them lower on this list because these people were considered Super Bowl favorites this season. The Ravens struggled, so I put them at 18.
Okay, you and I both picked the Baltimore Ravens to win that division, like any normal person would have. Also, I mean my words when I said that the Carolina Panthers had zero shot at making the playoffs. They did make that, and I knew you were going to bring that up when I put them on this list. But to me, to actually just, I don't know.
And they almost beat there was a last-second win by the Rams off of a miraculous touchdown catch. Perfect throw by Matthew Stafford. Just throw that out there.
So I got Carolina at 19, Tampa Bay at 18, and I think the biggest thing that Tampa Bay had was the loss of Bucky Irvin. If they had not lost Bucky, I think it would have been.
They had a lot of injuries.
It would have been a completely different situation for them. But I mean, I had to put them higher because of that. They didn't make it, but they persevered through all that. But at 17, I got the Baltimore Ravens. They started coming back there towards the end of the season. They were starting to make a comeback. They did finish 8-9, just like the other teams. You had Atlanta, Baltimore, Carolina, Indianapolis, and Tampa Bay all finished with 8-9, but they still managed to put up 424 points. So
This list is going to get very interesting.
I had to go with number 17.
I'm going to edit a thing on the video that shows like our list next to each other so people don't lose track. Just so something to reference back to because this is about to get really interesting. At number 17, right above the Baltimore Ravens, I've got the Minnesota Vikings.
Whoa.
Arguably one of the best defenses in the NFL, top 5 defenses in the NFL, in my opinion, this year, and top 5 worst offenses in the NFL. They just could never really get it going and struggled in times where I didn't expect them to struggle and excelled in times where it didn't seem possible. So the Vikings were a very weird team this year. J.J. McCarthy should have went back to college. Struggled, but I put them at a respectable 17. That's almost like right in the middle of the pack of the NFL. So
Who do you got for 16?
for 16, Lord help, I've got the Detroit Lions.
Oh!
Got the Detroit Lions at 16, right above the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, at this point, my list is just full of heartaches. Is this a Romeo and Juliet tale or what? Because this is just full of teams that disappointed me. And who else broke my heart than the Detroit Lions? Who did I say at the beginning of the year when they were struggling that was going to pull through and win the Super Bowl? And they just made me fall flat on my face. Made me cry, man. Like, how could you guys do that? Like, of all the talent, of every team in the NFL that had the talent, the Lions just disappointed me majorly. So they're at the middle of the pack of the NFL from this.
Hey, for me, number 16, I've got the Indianapolis Colts. The star-studded fire chariots blazing. Everybody was like, oh, yeah, these people are going all the way this year. Just to go, whoa. I mean, in the beginning, I was like, yeah, the Colts are coming around. Like, I haven't seen these Colts since the Peyton Manning days. Like, oh, yeah, man. I mean, they didn't finish terrible. They finished 8-9. They put up 466 points.
Yeah.
What
were they at one point, 8-2?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah.
And then everything just started going downhill. So I had to have them, for my 16.
This is crazy.
And then I have at number 15 is the Minnesota Vikings at number 15. They finished 9-8. like you said, their defense was on point. Can't argue with that. Their offense was terrible. Like, I felt sorry for everybody out there that drafted Justin Jefferson. Like, terrible year to have Justin Jefferson. But, they had to get a feel for J.J. McCarthy. He didn't get to play the last season because of his injury. This is his first, season getting to really play and kind of showcase his stuff. So, I think that they could improve, and I'm hoping with Kyler Murray that, you see a different Vikings. But I had to put the Vikings at 15.
So at number 15, I've got, oh boy, the Pittsburgh Steelers. A good team and a good performance all season long. A respectable performance. However, I think they were one of the worst teams to make the playoffs from a Mickey division where they almost got their playoff run eliminated by the Ravens. Terrible performance. Their playoff performance was subpar. It was ugly. They had good moments, but they also kind of had a Mickey schedule, in my opinion. So I got the Steelers at 15. And right above the Steelers, at number 14, I've got the Carolina Panthers reigning in the high round. Yes, the Carolina Panthers were better than the Steelers, the Lions, the Vikings, and the Ravens. The Panthers have an insane amount of talent, and the Panthers are going to be a 12-5 team next year. Just kidding. I don't know. But I've got the Panthers at 14. I think they had a lot of talent, and they were still working out their kinks of an early young team, but they have got a lot of talent. I'm very excited for Carolina next year. So, 14.
Okay, for my number 14 power ranking, I've got the Green Bay Packers coming in at number 14.
Wow.
They had a 9-7-1 finish. They were obviously, somebody that I expected to go farther than they did this year. But, it was just very up and down season for them. I do think, though, that they got a lot to show this season. They got Matt LaFleur coming back, which I was shocked to scrap that they were going to try to, extend Matt LaFleur's contract. I thought for sure that he was a goner because, once the hatchet starts falling around the league, it starts falling.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this dude's gone. But, I had to put him there at number 14 because they weren't the worst in their conference.
Yeah.
They were arguably the best in their conference, but they just hit a really bad.
They did. At number 13, I've got the Indianapolis Colts.
Wow.
Before I get burned at the stake alive for this one, the reason I've got the Colts this high is simply just because had it not been for Daniel Jones' injury, they, in my opinion, clearly were on their way to the playoffs. I think they easily would have finished with at least 11 wins.
Phil
maybe 12.
Rivers for president.
Unfortunately, Grandpa Rivers could not come in and save the team, but I just based it off of that alone because, the Colts, just ran out the gate, and, they could have finished in this list, top 8 had it not been for Daniel Jones' injury.
That's fair. That's fair.
I got them a respectable 13.
I've got the Detroit Lions at number 13, and the reason that I have Detroit Lions is just because of the pure athleticism that this team brings to the table. You and I said from the get-go, Detroit Lions are going to win the division. Detroit Lions are going to go to the Super Bowl more than likely. They're a Super Bowl favorite team, and they did not perform this year like they have in the last couple of years, but they put up 481 points. 481. They're still got a lot of talent there. They just had a bad season. So I had to put the Detroit Lions at number 13. Never thought I'd be saying this, but at my number 12 spot, I had the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Golly, that is some grace.
And I guess the biggest reason that I had to put the Steelers as high as I did is just because they were the shining star of the AFC North.
Wow. Wow.
Aaron Rodgers really surprised me. I didn't have a lot of expectations. I don't really like Aaron Rodgers.
Not many people
do. He's really whiny, and he's like that squeaky wheel that gets the grease. And when he was playing for the Jets and he got sacked on opening night on Thursday Night Football by the Buffalo Bills, was out for the season, I was just like, yes! But, you know, I don't like Aaron Rodgers. I have a lot of respect for the Pittsburgh Steelers organization and Mike Tomlin. Oh, man, Mike Tomlin. That's a discussion for another day. But I think that Pittsburgh showed that they can that they're back and that they can play. They've made a few, they've kept a few people. They've added a few people. So, I'm really curious to see what they bring to offer. And just because Aaron Rodgers might not be returning, it could be interesting. But I had to give him a 12 just because, they were the runaways with their division.
At number 12, I put the respectable, who I also considered Super Bowl contenders at one point before one particular injury wrecked their entire defense, the Green Bay Packers. Put the Green Bay Packers at 12. I think they had a lot of good and some really bad. And just like Seth, I was scratching my head when they re-signed Matt LaFleur, considering their blatant issues that they had to close out the season that did not feel like a talent issue, especially the massive choke against the Bears.
I think a lot of the problem, besides the defensive issue, was them losing Tucker Kraft.
Yeah.
He was a really big key to their offense.
Like, their offense went from, high-powered 400 horsepower engine to, go-kart. But I still think they finish at a respectable 12th place in the NFL. And at number 11, I always feel bad placing them high anywhere just because of where they're located and who they have to play against. I put the Los Angeles Chargers.
Hey, we're finally back on the same page again.
The Chargers have kind of, ever since the Justin Herbert era, have just kind of been like that.
Hot, cold, hot, cold, hot,
yeah,
cold.
they're consistently better than the hot and cold teams below them, but they just can't quite hit that.
They finished 12-5 this year.
They're always good in the regular season. They typically beat my Broncos in the regular season at least once. And then they just, tremendously choke in playoffs.
They scored 518 points and allowed 346.
Yeah, those are good stats. And then they go into the playoffs and they look like a Pee Wee middle school team. That's just how it is. It's just how it is. So, for these next, we'll list off in increments of 3.
Okay.
So 8 through 10. Starting with number 10, I've got the respectable turnaround season themselves, the Houston Texans. I think they were, based off their defensive performance alone, I put them higher than the Chargers. And I had a real big toss-up between the Texans and the number 9 team of the Philadelphia Eagles. I went back and forth between these two. I wanted to put the Eagles at 10 and then the Texans at 9. I was like, no, and then yeah, and then no. And so they're interchangeable for me. But at number 8, we have the question of where he would finish in quarterback rankings.
I knew that's where you were going.
I put the Chicago Bears at number
that's
8.
Solid.
Number 8.
For my number 10, I had the Philadelphia Eagles. They were another team that didn't do as well as everybody had thought that they were. Finished with 11 wins. And it's like, why do you got the Philadelphia Eagles ranked higher than the Rams? Well, they only allowed 325 points for one. And they come out of a funk. I don't know how else to put it other than that. They were kind of in an offensive stalemate, and then they finally woke up and came out of it. Number 9, I had the Chicago Bears at number 9.
Wow.
And my number 8, I had the Houston Texans.
Wow, completely different.
Because I sat there and I badgered the Texans because they were choking and choking and choking. And then they finally woke up and they started playing ball again. They finished with 12-5. They got 404 points and they only allowed 295 points. Their defense was on point. Their offense started off rough. But I think a lot of the problem was Nico Collins just didn't fill the role that they needed him to. And with the absence of Joe Mixon, they were scrambling offensively. Dalton Schultz really, came to the front. But I had to put Texans a little higher just because of their comeback status there and their defense.
Okay. So we'll list 7 through 5, and then we'll do 4 through 1. But 7 through 5, number 7, this one was really difficult. I put the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, wow.
I know. It's hard, but I also looked at the teams above them, and I'm like, I don't know if I could really put them in. The only team that really interchangeable with me is the number 6 team, but I'll go over that in a second. The Jacksonville Jaguars thoroughly did a 180. Trevor Lawrence did a 180. They had a great season. Trevor Lawrence was named MVP finalist, which I disagreed with, but he still had a fantastic season. a great season. They went all the way to the first round of the playoffs as a 3 seed. I mean, pretty solid. But I don't know. I had a hard time putting anyone below them because at number 6, I had the miracle workers themselves. St. Jude intervened. The 49ers. Got the San Francisco 49ers at 46. You're like, how in the world could you put the 49ers at? Well, look what they did with the amount of injuries they had. And they finished where they did. I mean, it was just insane. Christian McCaffrey, comeback player of the year, without a doubt. And at number 5, they're respectable. I had to place him here just because they beat the Jaguars. I got the Buffalo Bills. Arguably could have went to the AFC Championship game on a few questionable calls, but a great performance against the Denver Broncos. I mean, the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen led arguably one of the worst teams ever into this playoff run and had a great 2 playoff matches, and I got the Buffalo Bills at 5.
Okay, for my number 7 spot, I have the San Francisco 49ers at number 7. Like you said, Christian McCaffrey was the comeback player of the year, without a doubt. I think the biggest thing that hurt the 49ers was all the injuries that they had. They still persevered through that, but that was a lot to go through. It was a roller coaster ride between quarterbacks from week to week. Who's it going to be? And then they just started dropping like flies. So I had the San Francisco 49ers at number 7.
Yep.
I don't have Jacksonville in this group. So at number 6, don't give me that.
What?
I have the Buffalo Bills at number 6.
What?
Yes, I have the Buffalo Bills at number 6, and the reason that I have them outside the top 5 is because their defense was just terrible.
But they beat the Jaguars.
But they still
in the playoffs.
They're terrible.
And they picked off Trevor Lawrence in the playoffs. That's got to count for something.
I got them at 6. And a lot of the reasons why I've got them at 6 is because I had to put this team in the top 5. I got the Rams at number 5.
5?
Number 5.
What?
Yes, sir. They put up 518 points.
Rams at 5.
Bro. Puka Nakua, Matthew Stafford. Number 5, LA Rams. Number 6, Buffalo Bills. Number 7, San Francisco 49ers.
Okay, well. Wow. The Rams at 5 is crazy. At number 4, I've got the New England Patriots. Easily the 4th team. I almost put the Bills over them, but I couldn't. I had to put the Patriots at 4 because they did make a Super Bowl off of a Mickey appearance. I still haven't gotten over that. The New England Patriots had a fantastic run with the Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels show. 14-3 season all the way to the Super Bowl. Drake May, a great season. A lot of good. Trevion Henderson, a lot of good. Kayshon Boutte, a lot of good. Just not good enough. At number 3, because how could you not? I've got the Los Angeles Rams. Matthew Stafford, of course he's the MVP. Why would he not be the MVP? The only reason the Rams were not the best team in the NFL is because they didn't win the Super Bowl. And they lost that Super Bowl to the Seahawks. Their defense was pretty bad sometimes throughout the season. They had a good defense. They didn't have a great defense. So, the Rams coming at number 3. And, of course, number 2, who else? Who else? The team that got hated on all year. I heard you all year long, and look where they went. And look what happened. My quarterback got a Mickey injury celebrating. It was fake. It was rigged. The Denver Broncos at number 2. Look at the blanket. How could you not put him there? The Denver Broncos had the best defense in the NFL. And Bo Nix silenced the haters all year long, put up better numbers than Josh Allen, and somehow he wasn't even considered a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. What in the world is going on? And, of course, that means number 1 is the Super Bowl champion.
Of course. How can you not?
How could you
number
not?
1? Okay, for my number 4, I had to put Jacksonville. I put Jacksonville at number 4 because, heck, they won 13 games. Liam Cohen's first year as head coach really brought this team and turned around to the forefront. They put forward 474 points. They only allowed 336 points. They were arguably one of the comeback teams of the year this season, so I had them at 4. Number 3, I got the Denver Broncos at number 3. A lot of respect for Denver. They had a killer team. I cannot wait to see what happens next season with the Denver Broncos. That was a crazy game between them and the Buffalo Bills. That's the kind of game that I like, a back and forth shootout, like sweating bullets the whole time.
Yeah.
And they have played so well this year. It was really nice to see. And, you got Sean Payton. Enough said there. My number 2 team, just because of the way that they were this season, I had to go with New England Patriots for number 2. Because you took a team that was way down on the bottom.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel comes alongside with Josh McDaniels and takes them all the way to the Super Bowl. So I had to put New England at 2. So we had some differences. We had a lot of similarities, a lot of differences, but yeah, and obviously, Seattle being at number 1. Do I think Seattle will be at the same caliber next year? I'm not really sure. I'm a little worried with Clint Kubiak leaving and the fact that the team is going up for sale.
Yeah, that's a pretty big one.
That's, a little concerning. But a fun fact, Seattle led the league as the best team for points allowed with only allowing 292 points for the season.
True. Well, I guess that concludes our rage-baiting, rage-inducing, toxic-filled power rankings. I will be cutting this in half and uploading this power rankings video individually sometime in the coming months, so keep your eye out on that. For all the people that don't like to listen to an hour-plus long podcast, I understand. But hey, that was a lot of fun. Enjoy doing stuff like that. So we always end, what else do we always end on? NFL trivia, the best time of the episode. And if you've made it this far, please take a moment to like the video. So, I guess I'll go first. I thought, of course, with the Super Bowl, this would be fitting. Which New York Giants wide receiver made the infamous helmet catch in Super Bowl? I forgot to list what Super Bowl that was. Shoot, hold on. Pause for station identification. In Super Bowl 42, I guess it somehow cut out in my copy paste.
Huh.
In Super Bowl 42, which New York Giants wide receiver made the infamous helmet catch?
42.
42.
I'm going to have to go with Plaxico Burress.
That is incorrect.
Dang, I ain't never going to get one right.
It was the wide receiver, David Tyree. Good guess. It was a good guess. That was definitely an accurate wide receiver guess, but it was David Tyree.
Daggone. Okay. Here's mine. I thought this was really cool. I don't really ask too many coaching questions. Which NFL head coach is the only NFL head coach to lead 4 different franchises to the playoffs? He is the only NFL head coach to lead 4 different franchises to the playoffs.
Can I have one hint?
His first title for the playoffs was in 1986, and his last one was in 2006. So he's been in the league for a while. Or he was in the league for a while.
I don't know. Was he the head coach of the Chicago Bears at one point? I don't know. I have no idea.
The correct answer is Bill Parcells. He accomplished this feat with the New York Giants in 1986 and 1990, the New England Patriots in 1996, the New York Jets in 1998, and the Dallas Cowboys in 2003 and 2006.
I'll be honest, never would have guessed that. Good question. Really good question. That was very difficult. That was very difficult indeed. Well, any thoughts, closing comments, questions, concerns, or anything else for the end of this episode?
Today is March the 13th. The NFL draft is right around the corner. Right around the corner.
So to give a tidbit of information, obviously, if all plans go well, we will be posting an NFL draft exclusive video, meaning we research, guess, throw a bunch of random statistics out there and assume who's going to pick who, where's going to land what, who's your favorite team that's going to draft who. I mean, it's just going to be a lot of fun. We will plan on doing that or have something centered around the NFL draft because it is a lot of fun. And I don't have an NFL fun fact because we both listed fun facts earlier in the episode. If you missed it, Go back and find it. I don't know. But anyways, of course, as always, thank you so much for watching. We know we've been delayed, but there will be plenty of videos coming out in the future weeks. Have no fear. They will be coming out. We just took a little bit of a break, got caught up in life. And hey, of course, you know, life in general as it goes on, there's a war going on in Iran. There's a lot of things going on. There's uncertainty. You may be questioning, what is life? If you want to know more about that, want to know what the peace of God is and how Jesus Christ went and died and saved you from your sins, there's going to be a link down below for you to click. You can message us, send us a direct message. We'll share the gospel with you, anything you want to know, because this life ultimately is short. I could walk out here and die tomorrow. We don't know, but there is eternity and there is very real. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time for whatever the next episode title is of the SwineyBros podcast.